You've probably felt it already, but tonight those winds will only grow stronger across the metro. In downtown Denver, we could see gusts up to 70 miles an hour. Not the best night to be at the Rockies game. First pitch at Coors Field scheduled for about an hour from now. We'll see if that game holds. And driving in these conditions can be very dangerous, especially in the high country. The wind blowing snow is going to make it very hard to see tonight. North of Fort Collins, I-25 at Wellington to the state line also closed in both directions tonight to semis and other high-profile vehicles because of the wind danger. Wind speeds this high are also at risk, we know, of causing wildfires. And because of that, Xcel is doing something they've never done before in Colorado tonight, shutting off the power in advance to several areas. 9 News reporter Lauren Scafidi joins us now. She's out in that wind tonight in Boulder County. Lauren, this could affect about 55,000 households tonight.
This is the first time that Xcel has ever done this here in Colorado, and here's why. Take a look at this flag. It has been blowing like non-stop ever since we got here, and I weigh a lot more than this flag, and I'm even having a hard time standing here. I've gotten kind of knocked over a couple times, and something that kind of caught me by surprise is that the wind is blowing a lot of stuff up in the air, and it's getting into my eyes and into my contacts, and it's kind of uncomfortable. But this started at 3 o'clock today when Xcel cut power to 55,000 people, and they're out here. They were just out here actually working on these power lines. They just left in the last 30 seconds or so, but they cut the power. Wow, it is very windy out here. They cut the power because what could happen is the wind could knock down these power lines, or a tree could fall down on these power lines, and then that could fall down on the dry grass, and that's when it could set fire. So this is going to affect about 6 counties today, mostly in Boulder County where we're at right now, and small parts of Gilpin, Jefferson, Larimer, Douglas, and Broomfield counties. Also the West Denver metro area along the foothills. Xcel said that they called the customers that would be affected last night and this morning. Xcel hopes to restore power tomorrow around noon.
That's when the wind event will end. We will then have to send crews out to actually visually inspect the lines. As you might imagine, if there's damage to a line caused by the high winds, we can't re-energize that line until we physically put our eyes on it to make sure that it's safe to re-energize.
There's a lot of frustration from the public right now about where exactly these outages are planned. Xcel has the regular online outage map, the one that they always use, but they have not yet sent out a formal list of all of their planned outages today, even though they said during their press conference that they have plans to do that. Some individual jurisdictions and first responders appear to have received some maps, like this one that the Boulder County Chamber of Commerce shared, announcing outages today. But Xcel says that they're going to have more than 40 crews out tomorrow around noon to individually check on all of those power lines, and hopefully that will get the ball rolling to put power back on for those 6 counties. Live in Boulder County, this wind is so strong, our tripod is almost getting knocked over. I cannot wait to get back into the car, even though our car standing still was shaking around. Live in Boulder County, Lauren Scafidi, 9 News.
Lauren, please come in. My goodness, you're about to blow over. And we have been asking Xcel, by the way, for any sort of maps they can provide about those planned outages. So when we get them, we'll share them immediately. Red Rocks took some preventative action ahead of time as well. They canceled tonight's Dom Dalla show. Mission Ballroom added some last-minute shows to host him instead. You cannot just trade out your Red Rocks tickets, but if you bought the ones for the original show, you can get access to a pre-sale at the Mission Ballroom show. Also, tomorrow's Daybreaker show at Red Rocks got canceled. That will move to next Sunday. Kathy, I don't think we had a better example than seeing Lauren blow around. She's not a big woman. She's tiny, but still, my goodness.
And just the sound of that wind,
yes,
right? Yeah, the sound of the wind. And the thing that's so scary is the projectiles and things that are flying around. And the other thing that's a little bit scary is the fact that the worst of the wind is supposed to start at 6 p.m. tonight and continue through 6 a.m. tomorrow. So those of you that are maybe thinking, oh, what wind event? We're not really seeing a lot of wind here. Just wait, it's still coming. Extreme dangerous winds are in the forecast tonight. We remain under a high wind warning through noon tomorrow. Critical fire weather. Temperatures were cooler with the arrival of a front. The numbers that we saw this afternoon in the 50s have dropped now into the 40s. Currently 49 in Denver, 47 in Greeley, 47 in Fort Collins. These are current winds out of the west and northwest. Gusts to 71 miles per hour in Cheyenne, 44 in Fort Morgan, 48 mile per hour winds in Black Hawk, 58 mile per hour gusts in Nederland. Across the state, we're seeing some of those gusts in Buena Vista down toward Trinidad, up to Sterling and Ray, out across the western slope. We remain under a high wind warning until noon tomorrow for the potential for 80 to 100 mile per hour gusts, especially west of I-25, with red flag warnings in effect for southeastern Colorado. And in the high country, the wind is creating areas of blowing snow and difficult travel, with winter weather and travel advisories out for another 5 to 8 inches of snow by noon tomorrow. And you can see the storm system winding up, thunderstorms around the outer edge of it, the potential for blizzard conditions over northeastern Colorado due to the gusty winds. We can't get that precipitation here in Denver, where we love it and we need it. It's going to be all about the wind and colder weather tonight. The good news is we'll see some relief as we get into the mid-morning time period on Sunday, and Sunday afternoon will be much improved. But we've got to get through, Jenny, the next few hours. It's nothing but wind, a cold west to northwest wind with temperatures in the 40s. We're going to talk much more in detail about what we expect is going to play out over the next few hours here in our forecast coming up.
All right, Kathy, thank you. High winds like this can have a huge impact on flights. Right now, 254 flights are delayed going in or out of DIA. If crosswind speeds are above what pilots can handle, they can't land. Our aviation expert, Greg Feith, says if you're flying this weekend, it's a good time to be patient.
The adage in aviation is time to spare, go by air, if you will. You just have to have patience. Yelling at people, yelling at a gate agent or a flight attendant isn't going to make that airplane move. So again, you got to plan on it. It is Mother Nature, and it is expected to last through tomorrow, as I recall.
If your flight does take off, expect some turbulence. Pilots will do what they can, but they don't control the weather. Tonight, we will see some of the strongest winds since December 2021, the winds that fueled the Marshall Fire. But tonight's wind event is different, colder, and the humidity is higher. Higher humidity means a lower chance of fire starting, but of course that could always change.
With that said, 25% relative humidity is still pretty darn dry. So we are worried about any fire that gets started just about anywhere there's strong winds could probably quickly get out of control. So we are very concerned about that.
The National Weather Service says putting out a fire today will be just as hard as it was during the Marshall Fire. We should also expect high winds to bring down trees, large branches, especially ones that may have already been damaged by heavy wet snow just a few weeks ago. And we do have some fires burning in the state tonight. The Vision Hills fire in Pueblo County has burned 107 acres. Here's some video from that fire from yesterday. Deputies lifted some evacuation orders this morning and put other neighborhoods under pre-evac. That fire is now 80% contained. The city of Pueblo says the Everest fire is now fully contained. Here's what it looked like yesterday when it burned at the Everest steel mill outside the city. Pueblo says just because that fire is 100% contained does not mean it's fully out. And with these high winds, there's still extreme fire danger. And here in Denver, Denver Fire is working to put out an apartment fire in the southeast part of town, Mississippi and Valencia. They say there were heavy winds happening at the time of this fire, making it hard to fight. Firefighters searched the building. So far, they didn't have to rescue anybody, and there's been no reported injuries at this time. But there is some building damage and a small collapse on one side of the building. Firefighters are not sure where that fire started. South Adams firefighters put out a house fire in Commerce City today. This was at 62nd and Kearney. Firefighters say nobody got hurt, everybody got out safely, but they had a lot of crews on scene this morning to help them fight it. Up in Summit County, crews are working on rock scaling today on Dillon Dam Road. Remember when that happened about a week ago? Workers are knocking down the loose rocks so they don't fall later. Next, they'll haul away the large pieces of rocks and other debris. Summit County thinks they'll need at least 200 truckloads to get rid of this pile, and likely it's going to take them a week to get that off the road.